I would have to say my most memorable project that we've had our students make are the clocks. Um, every year we do a group project where we set up a production run and make multiple parts. So about 5 years ago, we started making clocks, and I think the one year we made 100. And what makes it memorable is it's such an intricate project, and the students genuinely get into it, and they also learn how the clock mechanism works. So it's pretty neat, it's fun, students get into it, and because I like clocks, it's nice to see the students enjoying the same thing. When I was 20 years old, I wish I knew enough to do a little bit more research into what my choices and career choices were going to lead to. It's pretty short-sighted. For me, getting the job, that was a big deal, and it was a big deal at that time, but I don't feel like I looked into it enough, and I think I closed some doors with the choices I did make. So my suggestion or advice to students now is to really spend the time and do a little research on your career path, what certain types of jobs can possibly lead to, and then go after that. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Probably the most important thing that I tend to give as advice is similar to what Ron said. Look into your career path, and while you have the opportunity here at Thaddeus Stevens, take advantage of it. Take full advantage of and absorb as much knowledge as you possibly can, or wherever you may be getting educated. Make sure that you take full opportunity to all of the equipment at your disposal. Any chance that you have, absorb as much knowledge as you can to prepare yourself for the field eventually. So who was my first mentor? Actually, my first mentor really didn't have much to do with what I'm doing today. My first mentor was probably my third grade teacher, who at the time I absolutely despised because she was constantly at me, constantly trying to get me to learn new stuff when all I wanted to do was just kind of go out and play football on the playground. And she saw something in me that I really didn't see in myself. She worked with me separate from other students. She would do things that I was interested in to keep me interested in class and keep me really engaged, which is something that I try to do with my students now. So she probably had the biggest impact on me in my life.
So what made me want to teach precision machining? It really boils down to I love machining. I love the industry, and what could be more fun and more enjoyable than getting to share that love of the industry and that love of machining with other people. The ability to continue my education while working with students is wonderful. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I tell my students that I'm learning right alongside of them. While I might have more experience, they can teach me as well. They can use their minds and share things that I might not discover myself. So that alongside of the fact that I saw a need in the industry, there was a shortage of skilled labor, and I wanted to be a part of training people to know how to machine. So the advice that I would give future students, looking back at myself when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, was that just absorb as much as you possibly can while you can. I recognize that the older I get, the harder it is to learn, the less time there is to be able to learn. That's not to say a person can't learn later in their years. The other thing, a piece of advice I would give to young people is get to know yourself, what makes you tick, and what makes you come alive, and do that thing that makes you come alive, because that's where you'll be most beneficial. That's where you'll enjoy yourself the most. and ultimately be the best asset to the community.